Hello friends, welcome to a new video. In this video, we are going to understand what is wet bulb temperature. Okay, so let us begin. Before understanding what is wet bulb temperature, we have to understand how sweating works, right? So sweating is a very important survival techniques that we have developed in order to survive extreme weather conditions. Okay, so sometimes the temperature can go up to 45 degrees centigrade, and sometimes the temperature can also go up to minus 5 degrees centigrade. So, in both cases, our body has to maintain its internal temperature of 37 degree centigrade. So, this is the normal temperature of human body. Even if the outside temperature is 45 degrees, we have to maintain our body temperature to 37, and in this extreme also we have to maintain our body temperature to 37, right? So what happens if outside temperature is 45? So if outside temperature is 45, then our body starts producing water in the form of sweat, right? So this is what happens. Now, why do we produce water? Because when water, okay, which is liquid, right? So when water becomes gas, right, which is moisture basically. So when water becomes gas or moisture, for this process to happen, there is a requirement of energy. Fine. For example, if you take a pot of water, and if you want to convert this water into moisture, what you need to do? You need to boil it, right? When you boil it, basically what are you doing? You are supplying energy to the water, and energy will be taken by the water and it becomes moisture. Similarly, the water which has accumulated on our body, so, what happens is that, for example, if outside temperature is 45, then our internal body temperature will also start increasing. Okay. For example, the internal body temperature will go from 37 to, let's say, 38. So, because of this excessive heat which has increased in our body, right? So, the water which is accumulated on our skin will take this excessive heat. Basically, heat is same as energy, right? So as I told you here, what we were doing is we were supplying heat or energy. So this water which has accumulated on our skin will take this extra heat or energy and become moisture, right? So this way our body temperature will go back to 37 degrees centigrade. So sweating helps reduce our body temperature. Why? Because sweat requires heat that is taken away from our body to become moisture. Got it? So this is very important, and this is a important mechanism through which sweating works. And you must have seen these earthen pots, right? How these earthen pots cool water? The mechanism is again same. Basically, these earthen pots, which are made up of soil, contain small, minute, microscopic pores. Through these pores, water which is present here comes out. And when water comes out to become moisture, right, this water will take away the heat from the pot. And this way, the temperature of the pot will decrease. Hence, the water cools. So, similarly, sweating works. Fine. Now, the next question that you need to ask is how much sweat can go into air, right? So though we are producing the sweat and trying to decrease the temperature, but how much sweat air can take? Is there any limit, right? Yes, there is a limit. Okay, because air contains a lot of moisture already, right? Air contains moisture in the form of humidity, and there is a capacity up to which air can take moisture. Okay, because we are not the only ones who are releasing moisture into the air. Air is also receiving moisture from water bodies like lakes, rivers, etc., plants, etc. So there is a limit to which humidity can be added to air. What if, what happens when the air, okay, when air reaches the capacity? Okay, what happens when air reaches the capacity to to hold hold moisture? Okay, this is a very important thing. So let's say air has now reached 100% capacity. Okay, air has reached 100% capacity, and can it hold any more moisture? No. Matlab, basically humidity has reached its limit, right? Now, so what happens then? Let us understand that. Okay, so when the air has reached its capacity, let's say 100% humidity is there in the air. Uh, in that case, let's say outside temperature is now 40 degrees. Okay, but we have to maintain our temperature to 37 degrees, and because of outside temperature, our body also starts heating up, right? Temperature will go from 37 to 38 degrees centigrade, right? And our body will start producing sweat, right? But this sweat will not evaporate. This sweat will not become part of the air. Why? Because there is already 100% moisture or humidity in the air. Okay, so in this case, sweating fails. Why sweating fails? Because this sweat cannot become moisture and take away energy from our body and decrease the temperature from 38 to 37 degrees centigrade. You understanding? Now, how this problem is connected with climate change? Due to climate change, the overall temperature of the atmosphere is rising, and because of high temperature, overall evaporation from water bodies is rising, right? From oceans, from rivers, from lakes, and because of this excessive evaporation, overall humidity in the air is rising. Okay. If you are someone who is from coastal areas, right, then you will understand this better. If you're from coastal areas, like let's say Mumbai, okay, so in Mumbai you will see that during summer, even though you sweat, but your shirt still remains wet. Why? Because your sweat is not becoming moisture. Why it is not becoming moisture? Because Mumbai is a coastal area, and coastal areas already have very high humidity in the air, right? Hence, you don't feel cold, or you don't feel as if your sweat is cooling you, because your sweat is not cooling you. Why? Because the sweat is not evaporating. Why it is not evaporating? Because there is already high humidity in the air. Okay, so this is the problem in coastal areas, but because of climate change, this problem is increasing all over the world. The most important mechanism that we used to have to cool our bodies, that is sweating, is failing us because of increasing humidity. So this is the problem which is caused by climate change, that is increasing humidity. But why do we call this phenomena as wet bulb temperature? Why? Because normally when we measure the temperature, we use a thermometer, right? And we measure it. For example, if you want to measure the temperature of this pot, then you put the thermometer in, and it will show you some reading, and that is dry bulb temperature, because there is no water on this thermometer, right? So this is the normal method of calculating or measuring the temperature. But in wet bulb temperature, in order to understand how much humidity is there in the air, what we do is we cover this thermometer with wet cloth. Fine. What we do is we cover this thermometer with wet cloth, and then we measure the temperature. See, if outside, if in the atmosphere, if humidity is less, what happens? Because of less humidity, this moisture from this wet cloth covering this thermometer will evaporate, and while evaporating, it will take the energy from this thermometer, and the temperature of this thermometer will drop, right? But if the humidity in the atmosphere is high, then this mechanism will fail, right? And instead of decreasing, the temperature either remains same, or it will be more than outside temperature. Basically, consider this thermometer to be our body, and this is sweat. So if outside humidity is very high, then our body temperature will not decrease. So in order to find out how much humidity is outside, we cover this thermometer with wet cloth and measure the temperature. That is why this is called as wet bulb. Bulb means the bulb of the thermometer is covered with wet cloth. Wet bulb temperature. So when we calculate the temperature in this method, the temperature that is shown is wet bulb temperature. So the learning that you need to take is that because of increasing climate change, right? So because of increasing climate change, the overall humidity in the air is increasing. So because of this increasing humidity, what is happening is we are not able to use sweating in order to cool ourselves. So what we need to do now? We have to suffer, because then this will create a lot of problems, because it can cause heat waves and heat strokes. Okay, so this is all about what is wet bulb temperature and its connection with climate change and its connection to heat strokes. I hope you have understood the topic, and if you're not, then please revise the video and watch. So study well, and until next time, take care.